2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, buddy, this is the Voice of Reason. Welcome into it. It is a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, one of the greatest days that you can look forward to each and every week. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here on the flagship out of Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. We do have the Podbean live stream up as well. You can also find us on the website at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. And we appreciate you doing so. What a show. We got a lot of stuff coming up today. Big things, of course, we have Kamala Harris that just did a press conference a little while ago, a town hall discussion or a panel discussion for the African-American community out of Miami, Florida, which I find hilarious. They're showing their desperation trying to go and do that because Donald Trump gained it so much from the minority vote over the last couple of weeks. And I don't know why Kamala's doing it instead of Joe Biden, unless they think he's afraid he's going to say something stupid. So we'll cover that here in just a little bit. Plus, how many Americans are actually confident in wanting to take the COVID-19 vaccine if it comes out anywhere in the next month to the next few months? I don't really know. Donald Trump says that we could have a vaccine on the market before the November 3rd election. Others say that it's not going to happen until 2021. Many communities across the nation actually want mandatory mask wearing until the vaccine is readily available, aka like parts of Kansas where we live here in the central part of Kansas, and we'd have to deal with that. So if there is a vaccine, are you willing to take it? We'll talk about that here in just a little bit as well. But before that, I'm excited to have our next guest on the program, as he is a published doctor in the American Journal of Medicine, and it talks about one thing it's kind of a fun topic really to talk about here, but important for you because we're not just about political health in this nation, we're about individual health. And it's time to talk about ways where you can keep yourself healthy. And apparently there's something called the Quarantine 15. Now, I remember about the college, what is it, the college 5 or the freshman 5? Oh, no. No, when I was in college, I gained a lot more than 5 pounds, but there's apparently been the Quarantine 15 with the amount of weight that many have been getting while staying at home and being quarantined at home. and to talk about ways to maybe keep yourself somewhat healthy or somewhat active, or some of the diets that are floating around out there, because I've had a lot of curiosity about these myself on the best diets to have and which ones are healthy and which ones are good for you. To talk about all that and more, he's a cardiologist from the National Jewish Health. I'm excited to have on Dr. Andrew Freeman with us here. Doctor, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show very much. Let's talk about the Quarantine 15. Have we really seen a lot of people gaining weight and being less active because they've been staying at home?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm even going so far as to call it the COVID-19.
Wow.
So I've seen some significant weight gain in a lot of folks. You know, there's a misconception out there that people, when they're under quarantine or on lockdown or staying home, that they can't leave their home. And while it is best, obviously, to stay at home when you can, there's certainly nothing wrong with getting up and finding a very, less populous spot and going for a good brisk walk or a bike ride or even doing it in your home if you really don't want to leave. But sitting on the couch all day and watching TV and so forth is definitely not in one's best interest.
I have to admit, I thoroughly enjoy that, and I try not to, and I've been so busy I usually don't get a chance to do that. But at the same time, you're right. A lot of people that do have to stay home, working out at home, exercising at home, I know a lot of people like to go to the gym. I personally think it's 90% of a fashion show to try and, show off your guns or something while you're there. But the working out and exercising at home, it is possible, whether it is, like you said, walking around outside or even doing something within your home, can't you?
Well, remember that before gyms, and of course gyms are great things and rec centers and everything else, right? People stayed fit. And how do they do that? Well, before vehicles, we would walk, 8 to 10 miles a day. And it's not hard to do. You can do it on a treadmill. You can do it on a bicycle. You can do it on an exercise bicycle at home. Even a strength and conditioning video that uses either, milk jugs or even barbells if you have them. There's lots of ways to stay fit that can resonate with one's personal goals. And then you don't have to gain the weight and stay fit. And some people have actually made a resolution. They say, if I'm going to stay home, I'm going to work on my health and I'm going to exercise every morning. And some people have actually lost weight, but not most people, sadly.
Well, and it helps, I think, with the mental state as well, doesn't it? I mean, if you're concerned about finances because you're stuck at home, if you are concerned about staying at home and being cooped up all the time because you like to get out and maybe you're that type A personality, I mean, exercising, kind of working through, doing some lunges or doing the squats or doing push-ups or running at home, I mean, that kind of helps the mental state a little bit too, doesn't it?
Well, without a doubt. And in fact, there's even data suggesting that exercising outside amongst trees, say in a park or somewhere like that, actually is enormously good for one's mind. And I would argue that, the mind and body connection are very underestimated in Western medicine, but very, very strongly connected. And, not only that, it's diet as well, right? So we want to, emphasize eating the fruits and vegetables, which, as you probably know for lots of your listeners, in the beginning of the pandemic when everything was really locked down, there were lots of fruits and vegetables and less of the processed foods and meats and cheeses around. And that was a great opportunity to eat better that I'm not sure everybody took.
Well, yeah, and I want to get into some of those diets, but to start off with even some of the meats, I had read a story that near 60% that took this survey or some national poll said that they were eating less meat or even went vegan or vegetarian because of the concern about the virus in the processing plants and the virus outbreaks that did see. And I mean, we're in Kansas. We saw a lot of meat processing plants get shut down for a little bit because of the virus. And a lot of people nationally ended up eating more vegetables because of that. Is that a good thing? Do we still need to be eating the meat before we get into some of the specific diets? But eating less meat in the diet, was that a good thing during this pandemic?
Yeah, well, even here in Colorado, we have a lot of meat processing, and we had a lot of outbreaks as well. And I guess what I would tell you is it's absolutely in our best interest. Every professional society and expert out there would tell you that a diet that is rich in plants, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains is helpful. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any evidence saying otherwise. The question is, should we eat any meat or no meat? And that's up for debate. But I would say to folks, if they can eat less meat, less cheese, less animal products, it's an enormous health. And if you're willing to go all the way to plant-based or vegan, there can be even more synergies, particularly in heart health.
Let's talk about some of the diets. I have heard back and forth, and I haven't decided. I want to try one of these because I do want to try and get back into shape. I mean, sitting in a radio studio 12 hours a day, I don't get the best amount of exercise, and I want to stay healthy and lose weight and do what I need to do properly. But I've heard the dueling back and forth between something like the keto diet and the paleo diet. What's the difference between the two, and do you recommend one of those two or something different?
Well, so those are all low carbohydrate diets, which I kind of lump together. And keto is to the point where your body creates ketones because there's so little sort of sugars or starches around. What I would tell you is that they do help some people, and not all people, but they do help some people lose weight. But they also have some added effects, especially if they're done in the typical American way. So a lot of people are eating, bacon wrapped 3 meals a day, and they feel that that's healthy. And we know that bacon is sadly now considered to be as cancer-causing as cigarettes by the World Health Organization. And then further, there's significant links to a variety of other cancers. So they may be creating significant inflammation even though they may be losing weight. Now, of course, with weight loss, many times diabetes does improve, and there's been some limited evidence to date suggesting that. But long-term outcomes on a low-carbohydrate diet don't just seem to be so good. And I also want to caution the listeners not to just jump on a diet, right? When we use the word diet, it's really an everyday habit. And if you decide to go keto, or you go plant-based or vegan or whatever it is, the goal is to make it a lifestyle as opposed to a diet. Because the people who yo-yo up and down, we know, are at much higher risk for a cardiovascular event down the road. So I really want to encourage people to eat well and make it just part of their lifetime habit, if that makes sense.
So it's kind of a new norm of just your daily routine as opposed to I'm going to do this for a month and lose some weight and feel really good and then go back to my old habits.
That's exactly it, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's like I'm going to take cyanide for a month and then stop, and then I'm going to take it again. Well, why would you do that? Right?
Yeah, no, that really does make sense. Some of the other ones that I haven't even really heard of, but like the Mediterranean diet or a DASH diet, or as you mentioned with some of the plant-based diets, at the end of the day, are there similarities between all of these, and what do you need to look forward to? You mentioned, not completely getting rid of meat, but less meat, more fruits and vegetables. Are there certain portions that you need to look at? And I have to admit, I love bread. I love sandwiches. And don't tell me to get rid of my tortillas because I just can't. But are those bad for you as well?
Well, let's put it in perspective. So if you look at Mediterranean, DASH, a plant-based or a vegan diet, they're all essentially plant-based diets. Mediterranean diet is not the American Mediterranean diet that many of us think of. It's not, gallons and gallons and gallons of olive oil combined with lamb and feta. That's not a real Mediterranean diet. A Mediterranean diet, when done the Mediterranean way, is actually a predominantly plant-based diet with very little meat and cheese. Certainly has some olive oil. And then there are variants on that. The DASH diet is the dietary approaches to stopping hypertension or high blood pressure, and that's also a predominantly plant-based diet. And then there's the ones that are all the way plant-based. And those are, within spitting distance of each other. They're, plus or minus 10%. What I usually recommend to my patients is, if you want to keep away heart disease and cancer to the best of your ability through lifestyle interventions, eating all plants and no animal products is probably best, but that's hard for a lot of folks. Mm-hmm. You also have to be careful about some of the processed stuff in the diet. So tortillas, if they're done the right way, are made with whole grains, sometimes a little bit of oil, and in a lot of parts of the country, they're made with lard, which, of course, is not helpful. But if you're using a whole grain and a little bit of oil, I think that's probably okay. If you have heart disease, there's some debate about whether or not to eliminate oil altogether. So I don't think tortillas are necessarily a bad thing, but if you're eating bags and bags and bags of tortilla chips, that may be a problem.
Not the tortilla chips necessarily, but just everything, every type of dinner that we have. My wife laughs at me because I literally wrap honey, we're having a roast. Great, put it in a tortilla and I'll eat it. And I guess I go a little excessive.
Try to get the dark brown tortillas or the corn tortillas that are 100% whole grain corn. Those are definitely better for you. But even better is just to eat some corn or rice or other things with your meal, as long as it's whole grain, brown rice, etc.
Very interesting. We're talking with Dr. Andrew Freeman. Let's talk about the oils for a second, because you mentioned oils and how a lot of different diets need to take those out, or for health of your heart to take those out. What about fish oil? I've heard that everybody needs to be taking fish oil, and I don't know what that necessarily does for you.
Yeah, so the data on fish oil, for a while, it was very in, and there was a lot of data supporting it. And then some larger analyses of some of the prior analyses suggested that there may not be as much benefit as we once thought. And there are some conditions that do respond to fish oil, like hypertriglyceridemia, which is a kind of blood lipid. But in general, I do not recommend fish oil routinely for most patients. It's particularly over-the-counter fish oil, which many times contains heavy metals and PCBs, dioxins, things you don't want. And the prescription ones are really meant specifically for hypertriglyceridemia or other problems like that. So by and large, for a while, everyone was taking fish oil, I agree, but I think the data on it is probably not as strong as it was, and it's really not routinely recommended anymore by anyone who's up to date on the the science behind it.
Very interesting. Talking with Dr. Andrew Freeman. We got about 30 seconds before we got to let you go and take a break here, but I do want to ask about the time that you should eat. A lot of people talk about only eating within 8-hour windows of the day, or actually not eating for a day or so to let your metabolism kind of reboot itself. Is that a good thing, and what do you recommend?
Well, there's some interesting data emerging about intermittent fasting, and that's where you limit the time you eat to, 4 hours, 6 hours, or even 8 hours in a day. And there appears to be some promising results with weight loss in that respect. And I think that the jury's still out there. But if you're up for it and you can limit your eating, that doesn't mean that you gorge and you eat nothing but pies and cakes, but rather try to eat a low-fat, whole-food, plant-based diet and then eat it in limited hours, and that may have synergy in weight loss.
Very interesting. We got to get you back on the show. I think this stuff's really fascinating, and it's kind of a nice break from politics itself anyways, but to kind of make ourselves healthy and understand kind of how these diets and certain foods work, I think is really great. So Dr. Andrew Freeman, we appreciate the time very much. We'd love to get you back on again here real soon.
Definitely. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Appreciate that very much. All right, we got to take a break. We got a lot to get to. We'll get back into the politics here in a second, but we try and make yourself healthy along with your mind healthy all at the same time here on The Voice of Reason. Got to take a break. It's a Thursday here on The Voice of Reason. Lots more coming up. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. It's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, you are. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason here on a Thursday. Thanks for hanging out with us today, no matter where you may be. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, doesn't matter. Thanks for doing it with us. Thanks again to our doctor coming on the show, talking about some of the health factors. Again, not just about politics. We're about lifestyles as well and ways to make you healthy and happy, although I will disagree with him on some. No. It is healthy for you to eat bacon all the time and to eat bacon wrapped in burgers that are cooked in beer and butter. People are probably like, oh my gosh, Andy, stop it. But I'm telling you, muy bueno. Very good. Welcome back into the show. Trying to cram 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. And we love doing so each and every day. So as we kind of talk about the health issues, let's talk about for just a second the vaccine. As only, according to Axios.com, 14% of Americans think a coronavirus vaccine will be widely available for the November election. And even if it is, many Americans don't even believe that they'll take it. 62% of adults say they're worried that the Food and Drug Administration will rush to approve a vaccine under pressure from the Trump administration. That's why, right? That's why. It's not because the people are concerned that it's a vaccine that you don't need. It's not because they're concerned that it's a vaccine that's going to be forced upon you, but it's because of evil Donald Trump, evil guy, who's going to be making it and rushing it to where it's not going to be sound or it's not going to be safe, and he's going to try and distribute it among the population to kill them all, because that's what Donald Trump's ultimate goal actually is. People actually believe this garbage. Think about it for just a second here. We have Donald Trump, who's been criticized of not handling it appropriately, not taking it seriously at the beginning, which is what this new book's all about, which I don't know what the fascination is with books this year, but everybody's all about writing a book and about attacking Trump under these books, and it's going to change public opinion about Donald Trump. And it hasn't yet. He's got a steadfast following that really doesn't go anywhere no matter what he does. His comment during the campaign in 2016 was actually kind of accurate, where he's like, I could shoot somebody on 8th Street and I wouldn't lose a single voter. It's kind of accurate. I'm not saying that he would do that, and if he did do that, then obviously we would not support him, but the point still stands. They've tried to slander him the best they could, and it doesn't work. They tried to attack him for not handling the virus appropriately at the very beginning, which is not true in any way, shape, or form. He tried to cut ties with some of the traveling to China from the very beginning, when Nancy Pelosi was still having parties out on the West Coast and saying, oh yeah, come on out, Donald Trump's not going to scare us. She literally said things like that, while Joe Biden's actually still on the campaign trail by the mid to end of March, not taking it seriously, while the economy's shutting down, while states are closing down, while here in Kansas they closed down the schools, the first state in the union to close down schools during spring break. In March, Joe Biden was still out campaigning at regular rallies. Now, his rallies consisted of a whole 10 people that didn't remember where they were at, and they thought that it was the buffet line, but at the same time, he was holding rallies without mask wearing. Because at that point, no one was taking it seriously because we didn't think it was that serious. So they criticized him for not handling it appropriately, which is not true. Then they tried to say that he didn't have enough of the PPEs, which we were making massive amounts of PPEs at that time, and he was on it. And he put Mike Pence on the coronavirus task force that was handling it every single night. If you remember, there were a few of those press conferences, which, by the way, Donald Trump did for hours on end, taking question after question after question, and they were stupid questions, but they were questions nonetheless. He would do it for 2.5, 3 hours because he was the most transparent out of any president that could have possibly been in leadership during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. He wanted the information to get out there. He would bring the task force to the press conference to report their findings each and every day. He would report the amount of PPEs being produced. He would report where they're actually going. He would report the numbers on a state-by-state basis. He would talk about all of it. And yet they say that he handled it inappropriately. and they attacked him every step of the way. And now with this latest book said that he didn't take it serious enough, which we'll get to when we come back here as well. But no matter what they do, so you really think he's going to force it upon us and us to not trust him because you're going to think that he's going to force this and ram it through the FDA before they actually make sure it's safe for us? Give me a break. Give me a break. Complete lunacy on the left side of the aisle today.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, you are. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. I am Andy Hooser. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Great to have you for the ride. So I have a question for you. Do you like listening to the program? Which hopefully you do. And we get a lot of response from individuals. You can follow us and watch us live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at Hooser Reason. We have the live stream, but I am so excited, which I'm not going to give a whole lot of information. We're still working on it behind the scenes. It's been long in coming, but we're getting so close I can taste it. So close I can smell it. But the Hooser Media Network is our own network. Mrs. Voice of Reason and I run together, and as we work on doing more online podcasting, we have a few shows under our Hooser Media Network network company, per se, if you want to call it that. And we're working on some online things with live streaming, kind of like an online TV/radio stations that we're going to be doing. And you'll be able to listen to the Voice of Reason in blocks, hour blocks, and actually listen to the program. So I'm really excited about it. More information to come very soon. If you want to, you can go on social media. Really, Facebook and YouTube are the channels that we have up and going right now. And you can actually follow us at Hooser Media. On both of those, you can go to YouTube, find Hooser Media on there, and subscribe and follow us on there. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/Hooser Media, and you can follow us on there too, because we're going to have some really cool things coming up very soon. So please go on there and follow Hooser Media, and also, of course, the show as well at Hooser Reason, and you can find more information at HooserReason.com. Nothing about us, but I just wanted to get that little plug out there because some cool stuff's coming up soon, and we don't want you to miss that opportunity for some of that stuff. Also, if you have yet to do so, make sure to sign up for the newsletter. We send that out monthly, so it's out this month, but it will be out again in October. So you can go to HooserReason.com. You can fill out the survey we have on the homepage. You can also sign up for the newsletter and become a Hoosier-holic, because that's just awesome, and you can follow us on everything that's going on with the show. Back to it here. So Donald Trump held a press conference earlier today, and he was being asked about this book because the audio's been released. This guy, Woodward, has been releasing some of the audio that he's done with like however many hours that he got to interview President Donald Trump. Now they're trying to slander him because of this. It's been the year of books, and there was actually a story written on it a couple days ago or a week or so ago about the amount of books that have been released during Trump's administration, really the past 4 years, where the more books that have been released, some of them about pro Donald Trump, but many of them against Donald Trump, and they've been huge hits and huge sensations. Donald Trump has boosted the book industry and the writing industry. Evil, terrible guy, right? Horrible, horrible. We can't have that. But nonetheless, people love to write about Donald Trump, his administration, what he's doing, whether he's good, whether he's bad. And it's been huge hits on both sides of the aisle about writing. But this guy has written books about numerous different administrations, and he's knocked every administration almost, but really has taken a hold on Donald Trump and has written now 2 books on Donald Trump about how bad of a president he is, the chaos that goes on in the administration and behind the closed doors, and the fact that during COVID that he tried to downplay the virus. Now, everybody's up in arms about this, and I've seen social media posts saying, well, Donald Trump is horrible because he wanted people to die because he downplayed it so much. And this is what Donald Trump had to say, hat tip to C-SPAN on this one with the interview earlier today.
Well, I think if you said in order to reduce panic, perhaps that's so. The fact is, I'm a cheerleader for this country. I love our country. And I don't want people to be frightened. I don't want to create panic, as you say. And certainly I'm not going to drive this country or the world into a frenzy. We want to show confidence. We want to show strength. We want to show strength as a nation. And that's what I've done. And we've done very well. We've done well from any standard. You look at our numbers, countries, other parts of the world. It's been an amazing job that we've done. I think it's very sad in many respects because the incredible individuals working so hard on it, including our vice president, they've done this great job. They haven't been acknowledged by the news media, and they should, for the job we've done, whether it's ventilators, and now you'll see very soon with vaccines and with therapeutics. The job we've done has been incredible. But we don't want to instill panic. We don't want to jump up and down and start shouting that we have a problem that is a tremendous problem, scare everybody. And I'll tell you the other thing, we immediately started buying all over the world. We started buying masks and gowns and everything else. And we don't want to cause pricing to go up to a level that becomes almost unaffordable. So,
all right, so him defending himself and saying I've been on top of this. We don't want to create fear. We don't want to create panic because I don't know if you're aware or not, but the mass public is not the brightest of individuals when it comes to many on the left side of the aisle. And when there's a little hint of something bad, everybody rushes out and gets things like, I don't know, toilet paper, for example. So I think their entire argument of him trying to stop the panic kind of goes out the window when we have a virus that attacks your lungs and they go out and buy toilet paper. Now, I will say that I completely, wholeheartedly agree with President Trump on how he's handled this because he has been number one. Look, what we want is we want to be able to make the decisions ourselves, to understand, to be informed, and then to make our decisions. That's been the biggest issue on the right side of the aisle throughout this entire pandemic with many state officials that have locked things down, that have mandated the mask wearing and try and scare us with these different numbers of the confirmed COVID cases in those communities, is that we didn't understand the true facts. And then we could make the decisions. Do I wear the mask in public? Do I make my family wear the mask in public? Do I need to wear the mask in public? Do I need to worry about wearing the mask in public? Do I need to social distance? What do I need to do? Those are the big questions that we need to decide as us, not the government telling us to do so. And that's what Trump has done. He has not mandated mask wearing nationwide. He has not told other than saying, you know what, if you want to wear the mask, wear the mask. I'm going to wear the mask when I'm around people. I'm going to try and stop shaking hands. And you've noticed that. And it almost seems awkward, by the way, too, doesn't it? When he's going around and people want to like give him a big hug because they love him and he's like, thanks. And then he keeps his distance. It almost seems jerkish, but he is the farthest from being a jerk that there is because he's one of those guys that loves to go and shake people's hands and gives them hugs. He loves doing that. But yet now you're like, thanks. And he like grabs their little like finger and like shakes it like, thanks. So nice to meet you. And it's kind of awkward. So they, of course, criticize him now for being chauvinistic and a jerk because he won't give people hugs. But yet, they don't want people to be around each other. But he's handled it right based on not forcing mask mandates, trying to inform us again, like we mentioned. Do you remember those press conferences that he did just a few months ago? Back in March and April and May and June, where he was doing 2, 3, 4-hour press conferences with the coronavirus task force trying to educate everybody on them. Well, Andy, that was just a media show. That was just for the ratings because he was all about the ratings. And since he can't campaign, that's his way of campaigning. So that's a media outlets wanted to start canceling that. And he was just showboating. So he stopped. He stopped it. Fine. You know what? You don't want the information. I won't give you the information. And what did the media do? You're not passing along information. You can never make him happy. but he was trying to be transparent, more so than anybody ever. But you don't go out there and say, ladies and gentlemen, there's a major pandemic going on. There's a virus spreading all over the place. We're all going to die. Make sure to go out and buy toilet paper. You don't do that. He didn't do that, and he wasn't going to do that. The Democrats didn't take it seriously. The Republicans didn't take it seriously. Donald Trump didn't want to take it seriously until he had to, and he took the preventative measures before anybody else, and he got criticized for that. Now he's being criticized for not taking it seriously from the get-go, which is completely untrue. He didn't want to spread the panic, which makes total sense. When 9/11 happened, did the government say there's a terrorist attack on our nation and it could happen anywhere else in the country? Go and protect yourself. Go hide under your desks. Did they say that? No, because that would be dumb. Did Barack Obama come out and say, H1N1, there's over 60 million confirmed cases of this. We're all going to die? No. He didn't say that because you don't want to incite fear. You don't go and yell fire in a theater. That's dumb. Leaders educate, they inform, and they keep their cool and be like, yeah, you know what? It's there. We're working on it. We're fighting it. It'll be over soon. Don't worry about it. We're going to keep you at peace. We're going to keep you calm. We're going to make sure that you understand what's going on, and we're going to do it in a rational way. That's exactly what he did. Nah, don't worry about it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. We got this handled. We're going to, you know what? Just take some preventative measures, take caution, take care of yourself, and we'll get through this. It's going to be all right. We're going to open up here real soon. As a leader, as someone who wants leadership in a leadership position, you want a leader that is actually going to keep calm, that can handle things rationally, and that can inform you on the situation and give you hope and optimism for the end of it. And that's what Donald Trump's done this entire time, has he not? You know what? The economy's going to come back bigger and better than ever before. It's going to be huge. It's going to be bigly. It's going to be great. Don't worry, the economy, the unemployment's going to come back. It's going to rebuild very quickly. If you lost your job, don't worry. I promise you, your job's going to come back here very soon. Don't worry about it. That's exactly what Trump did. So him saying, yeah, you know what, me not wanting to cause panic and me trying to downplay it a little bit, sure, I downplayed it a little bit. I don't want to cause panic. The government did the same thing during 9/11. The government did the same thing during the H1N1. The government did the same thing during any other terrorist attack or any other assault on the United States, because that's what leaders do. They talk about it. They show that what's going on. They try and inform you on what's going on, and then they downplay it and give you hope at the end of the day. And apparently Democrats can't handle that, but they've done the exact same thing down the road before as well. The only difference is it's Donald Trump. That's the only difference here. But in my opinion, Donald Trump's done a fantastic job this entire process, has informed us, has been more transparent. Look, if Barack Obama would have been in office right now, or Joe Biden would have been in office, or Hillary Clinton would have been in office, we wouldn't know exactly what this virus is all about. We would have misinformation all over the place. We would hear nothing from a task force because they wouldn't be transparent about it. All they would say would be what many governors have done in the states as Democrat-run states and said, you need to wear a mask, you need to social distance, don't ask questions, because if you don't, then you're all going to die from the virus or from martial law, whatever. We'll just decide as we go along here. Donald Trump's been great with this. So don't give him crap saying that he downplayed it and that caused deaths in the nation. It's called a virus. That's what it is. Let's realize what that is and move forward, shall we? One more segment left on the program. It's hard to believe. A lot more coming up on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Last segment before we wrap up. It goes by way too fast. Way too fast, but we thank you so much for being here each and every day with us. Let me ask you something. When you hear about leadership, what brings to mind? What do you want in a leader? Do you want someone that just holds your hand and just doesn't give you any information, just tells you to do something and you blindly follow? Or do you want the leader that really tells you what's going on, explains things to you, makes you understand, and allows you to make your own decisions. And some of those decisions should be very commonsensical to you, but sometimes they're not as well. And sometimes you need to make that choice, and it's very difficult to make those choices because sometimes many of us disagree on those choices, and that's okay. That's what makes us human, is when we disagree and we have our own thoughts about it. Sometimes people take it serious, sometimes people don't, and the ones that don't, it really goes back to our, I guess if you want to call it, our Neanderthal times. When you hear a rustling in the bush, do you go over and say hi to it and try and pet whatever's in the bush? Do you run away from it, or do you try and build up some defenses and prepare yourself in case it's an enemy? I guess that's the original way for us to think about this. Let's put it in the context of maybe a business. If you work at a business, if you're an employee, do you like the boss that just says, do this job? Okay, what does it do? Like, can I understand what the purpose is for it here so I can kind of craft the way I do it to the best of my ability? No, just do the job. Okay? And you have no understanding of it. You just do it. You just punch in the numbers, blindly following and just doing your thing. Or do you say, hey, do you like the boss that says, hey, can you do this? This is going to help us be able to do this, and that way we can do this as a company. And oh, by the way, if you understand this enough, then you can work your way up over here too, and let me show you how you can do that, and let me work with you. Usually, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, we like that secondary type of boss. But the progressives, they put on those blinders. They said to wear a mask. Okay, well, why do you need to wear a mask? Because then we'll die if we don't wear the mask. Okay, but there's really not a whole lot of deaths related to only COVID-19. No, 180,000, 190,000 people have died from the virus. That's not true. 190,000 people have died with COVID in their system, but also had 2 to 3 other ailments along with that COVID. Only 10,000 people have died from the virus all by itself, which, according to a population of 355 million plus people, is a very, very, very small percentage of that mass population. But nonetheless, it's a very scary virus. We need to listen blindly. We need to wear the mask, social distance, and we need to do all that, or else we will die. See, this is the kind of information that you don't get a whole lot of other places. And I'm just not talking about my show. I'm just talking about like radio in general. There's actually some stories that came out, some recent surveys nationwide, where a vast majority of people trust talk radio more than they do the regular news outlets, which is cool. And I think that's awesome. And I think that really helps us as talk show hosts, because even though we're not news presenters, we're opinion people and commentators. But at the same time, you get commentators on the news outlets as well, in the news circuits. The only thing is they miss information, or they mislead you with information, or they leave out information altogether. We'll talk about it and we'll say how dumb it could be sometimes, but at least we talk about it and we give you the information, and you can come up with your own conclusion. And I came up with my own conclusion based on my explanation of why I came out to that point. But according to, there's a couple of different sources, like Nielsen, where they do Nielsen ratings in your local radio markets, wherever you may be. Nielsen is in Arbitron. It's kind of the same thing. But Nielsen comes out with stories as well, and they survey radio listeners, and the vast majority trust radio and talk radio, especially more so than they do their local news outlets. Then I see this, Bakersfield.com, all ears stay glued to local radio, a beacon amid the fog of fire, which is interesting. Now, there's purpose to radio, which at the end of the day is entertainment, which is why we try and do things in a flashy, high-intense, fast-paced way to keep it entertaining for you, but it's also to educate a little bit, give you some information, and then we try and throw in our commentating and our opinion in there as well, because I'm not a news reporter. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a news reporter. I never will be a news reporter or a journalist. I am a commentator and an opinion maker and an entertainer at the same time. I believe in what I talk about. I believe in what I say wholeheartedly, or else I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know if you're aware or not, if you watch the live feeds, I don't have a script. I don't do scripts. I have a couple bullet points. I have the stories that I want to talk about, but I don't do scripts because I believe in it. And I know what I want to say because I truly do honestly believe in it deep down in my heart. And apparently people understand it. They connect with it, which is why they trust it more so than they do like news outlets on TV when they read the script and they say things really, really, really dumb. So wherever you may be and whatever shows you listen to, not just mine, those talk show hosts, hold them accountable, but listen to them, verify what they say, and understand where they're coming from, because you know what? Talk radio is going to be the new age. AM talk radio, FM talk radio, it's the new age. It's going to lead us into a new direction because the media itself, the mainstream media, will not do it because they attack someone like President Trump for really dumb things. That does it for us today. Podcast going up a little bit. Until then, make sure to be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Back at it tomorrow for a Friday episode of The Voice of Reason. Everybody have a great evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this